One of the most important things in joint ventures is the fact that the best joint ventures are made out of people that are complete opposites to each other. Different skill sets. Sylvia loves spreadsheets. I hate them with a vengeance. I can't do detail to save my life. You can ask Sylvia. Yes. Get me to do my receipts. She has to tie me to the chair and actually sit me down there and actually do the receipts. But that's why we work so well together, because we know we've got a common goal and a common outcome that we're looking for, but we are complete opposites in the way we work. It does cause friction.
Yes, it does.
But the point of this one is, do not expect the person that's going to be your best joint venture partner to be looking exactly the way you think they are, or they're going to fit a certain criteria that you're looking for.
I mean, respect that other people are different, okay? Think about what's going to complement your skills. So really what you've got to do, there's 2 steps here. One, you've got to figure out who you are and what you're good at. And sometimes people don't get that right, so you might need to ask the opinion of some people that are close to you. Get that bit right, and then you can start searching for somebody that's going to complement you. Now, of course, you're going to look for people that are not the same as you, and you may come across some that are not the same as you that you will not get on with because you're just so different. You don't have to necessarily go down that route. You're looking for people that can complement your skills, that are different to you, and that you get on with. Okay? It's about people, isn't it? If there's one fundamental principle that's foundation at the bottom of everything you're going to see this weekend, now and in every presentation, it's about the people. It's not about the bricks, it's not about the box, the mortar, the box that you're buying which has got 4 windows and 3 bedrooms and a chimney at the top. It's not about that. It's about the people that live in it. It's about the investor that's going to buy it. It's about the people that make the process work from start to finish. See where this is going? Yeah? So apples and oranges, you are looking for the different people, but you're also looking for that relationship and people that you do get on with.
A common goal and a common outcome is important, but find people that are good at what you're not good at. Because I'm not good at the detail, and I've said that so many times, and people don't. But we need someone who is very good at detail, who somebody enjoys doing that bit. And if you don't enjoy it, find somebody who is good at it and work with them, because you all have skills they're not good at. If you're very good at networking and they hate it because they don't have the people skills, or they don't want to create the people skills, then that's a good partnership, because you can go out there and do that, and go and talk to the estate agents, go and talk to the vendors, and they can do all the detail stuff in the background. So find people that complement, what you do. Find people that are the opposites to yourself, because you'll find if you've got a common goal, those skills will really work well.
Now, that's a picture of someone's face, actually. That's actually how Juswant looked on his very first networking event. I'll let him
Anybody walked into a room full of people and thought they all know each other and I don't know anybody? Anybody done that? Every time you walk into an open networking group, I have this same look on my face.
Minus the hair.
Minus the hair, and I haven't got the jump anymore. But I think everybody knows each other, right? Because they're all chatting and they all know each other, and you think, oh my God. Well, I've been doing this for 4 years, 5 years now, networking, and I still get nervous when I walk up to a room and I see a group of people, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know anybody.
Let me just add to this. He's an IT, was an IT person. I was in accounts. That's 2 really dull people coming together. I mean, how great our conversation is going to be. And we're walking into a networking room and we're going to be making conversations. So can you imagine where we've come from? So if we can do it, let me tell you, everybody can do it. All right?
The first property networking group I went to was in Birmingham, and it was run by Palm Deep and Hanif. I walked in, I spoke to about 2 people for 10 minutes. I had a panic attack and I had to leave. Because what they were telling me about what they were doing in property was completely out of my sphere of thinking. I couldn't believe what they were doing. I said, what you're doing must be illegal. You cannot do that. That is not right. No way. It's because I've been taught how to buy property one way. You save up, get a deposit, save up, get a deposit, and you do it this way. And that's the only thing I knew. And to see people talking about the fact that they bought portfolios, done this, done this, done this, and I'm standing there going, no you can't, no you can't, no you can't. And then I just left, and I phoned Sylvia when I walked out and said, I'm never ever going back there. They're obviously a bunch of crooks. But then there was something about it that made me think, actually, they must be up to something. There must be something right about it. So I phoned up a solicitor. I said, look, I went to a meeting and these guys were talking about the fact that they do this, this and this. And he said, yeah, my clients do that all the time. I'm like, what? You mean this is legitimate? He said, yeah. I said, how come I don't know about it? He goes, because you've been educated. You've got a job. He goes, you've got blinkers on. He says, you won't see this stuff. He says, but my clients do this all the time. They buy, they're buying portfolios back then. And he says, yeah, it's all legitimate. But that doesn't mean every single solicitor understands what we do.
So one thing Juswant didn't have when he walked into that room was an open mind. He wasn't prepared to hear something different. But he did go back the month after. And then he did go back again the month after that. Now, he just attended the same networking event 3 months in a row. And he was chatting to some people, just listening to what they have to say, their stories, how they've done some deals. And this guy came over to him and said, you've been here a few times now. Why don't you come and have a chat with us? And what Juswant had noticed, there was a small round table sort of in the corner. Most of the networking was going on here, and there was that small round table with about 4 guys, and it looked like, the mafia, basically. And one of the guys invited Juswant over there. So Juswant went, okay, come over, had a chat. 2 hours later, he'd basically just been educated in how to buy property in one particular strategy. And it was about 10 or 15 minutes later, somebody said, oh my God, Juswant, you've just been speaking to that guy. And Juswant goes, yeah. He goes, no, that guy, he's got 200 properties. No idea. The guy's name's Glenn. And people know Glenn, right?
But he didn't say, he didn't tell
it.
me what he had. He just said to me, look, this is what we do, what are you looking to do? He said, you've obviously come back, so you must be serious. I said, well, why? Because we see so many people who turn up once, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he says, we've seen you 3-4 times, so obviously you're more serious than the usual person who just turns up the once. They don't get the answer, they don't get the information straight away, so they think, obviously this networking doesn't work, so I'm off. But he said, you've come back 3 times, so you must be serious about what you're doing. And you must be serious about learning. And we were.
Yeah. You've got to ask your questions more than once. If you don't get the answer or you're not quite sure about the answer, you've got to ask more than once. We spoke at an event in January, and we don't normally do talks, to be honest. We don't do presentations. It's not something that we're going to be doing. It's very selective and very few. But this event in January, they asked us once last year in September, said, it's not our thing really. We like our speakers to come and do the talk, and we just introduce them. Then he asked us again, then he sent us an email, then he put something on Facebook, and he just kept on asking. Okay, all right, we'll come and talk. But he got his result. He didn't stop at just one no, did he? That's the same in life, it's the same in business, it's the same in property.
So many people ask us to speak, but they ask once. And we say, well, we're busy. And that's the last we ever hear from them. Isn't it amazing how many people just get no once and then just stop? And a number of people have come to the Berkshire meeting and say, we'd like to speak here. We said, great, come back next month and we'll talk about it. Never see them again. It's interesting how people think they can just turn up the once and just go, there. And I'm like, you are?
Who thinks that property is a lonely business? Just one person? Everyone else is doing all right, yeah? You've got a team of people around you, because that's what you want to be doing. Because when you go into business, even if it's property or any other business, it can be lonely. You've got to get out there and meet people. So networking is perfect for that. But like I said, you go there with a purpose, and you go there with a reason, and you want a list of questions or a list of things to fulfill. And you want to be connecting with them. You want to build your team. I know it sounds like a fairly basic, but it's very fundamental. You hear it everywhere, building your team. What are you looking for? So you've kind of identified what you're good at. You've identified what you need in other people or another person. Put a structure together. Who do you need? Solicitor? Broker? At least 2. Yeah? Maybe somebody with money, somebody with time, somebody who knows how to do the deal, somebody who can do the negotiation. Figure out the whole process end to end and figure out, where do I fit in and what do I need to fulfill? Yeah?
And it could be, if you're used to working in an office environment, I worked in a building with 300 people for about 11 and a half years in my last job, and 6,000 students. So I saw a lot of people all the time, all day long. And then all of a sudden to be working from home, and you're working in your back bedroom, and you're phoning people up, and you might go and see the occasional stage agent, occasional vendor, you no longer have that communication, that skills. I was used to getting up in the morning, going to work. I knew when to have lunch, I knew when to have coffee, and I knew when to go home, because that's what everybody else did. But when you're working from home, you don't have that. And one thing I've found from networking locally with local business people, Everybody that supplies us with services, our accountant, our bookkeeper, our IT person, everyone is somebody we met, first of all, face to face at a networking group, and we got recommendations from other people saying, are they any good? And you say, well, yeah, we've used them. And that's how every single person that we work with is somebody that we met through a networking group. And they've all become friends now, and we go and socialise with them. So it creates that, that environment. It's, if you're working from home all the time, you need to get out there and actually start meeting people. And local business networking groups are fantastic because they are business owners. They have money, but they don't have the time and they don't have the knowledge. And you guys are here this weekend to get the knowledge.
Just a question for yourself, just before we go on to that, is something you might want to jot this down, is when you do meet some people that you think could be part of your team, you're in a circle, that team that you're going to move forward with, ask yourself the question, why would you want to do business with them? And why would they want to do business with you? They're important questions. Because if you can answer it in both ways, you can see it from their point of view. You can also see, are your values aligned? Are you coming from the same hymn sheet? Different skill sets, but are you coming from the same point of view? And are you therefore going to be reaching the same outcome, without any disagreements? I mean, there will be lots of discussions and learnings between the two of you, but can you reach that outcome having grown through that journey? Okay, so ask those questions of yourself, and it's amazing what your mind comes back with.
One of the things we find is people compare themselves to other people. They're like, somebody's racing ahead, therefore I should be doing more. But this is your journey, this is your property business, this is down to you. Because you can't compare yourself to anybody else because you don't have their history. Because I see lots of people get started in property, and especially if they've been in employment like we have, you have to make a fundamental shift in the way you're thinking before you can really succeed in property, because you need to start thinking like a business owner, a business person, not like an employee where you turn up and the stuff's given to you and the phone rings. You've got to get proactive and start doing things. But if you're a business owner and you're used to running a business, you're going to make the transition far quicker because you know exactly what to do. So sometimes when you're looking for a business partner or a joint venture partner and you don't have those skills, but you meet somebody who's already run a business before, they may be the ideal person for you to work with, because they'll help you. They'll kick you up the backside and saying, look, you're no longer an employee. That phone's not going to ring. You've got to get out there. The estate agent is going to phone you. You've got to go out there and make it happen. This is not going to happen unless you do that. You've got to make it. And it's all down to you in the end of the day. But sometimes finding people who got the opposites and got the skills that you need, and they can drag you along, and sometimes you might need dragging along, kicking and screaming, because you know you need to do it, but you don't want to do it.
I mean, slow and steady wins the race. We've talked about how you go to a networking event, they recognise you, you've got to keep on going back. Make it, if you're making a commitment, don't just do one date, do 3, then assess if it's been any use. Property's not going to be an overnight game. In fact, it's not going to be an over-a-year game. You're talking a few years to really see some clear results. It's about what you're learning, it's about who you are and who you grow to become when you're in a different environment, doing your own business. What kind of strategy do you want to actually be doing? Because there are so many different ways. Once you've actually come out of the conventional, put a deposit down, buy property, once you come out of that mindset, what you hear completely revolutionises the way you think. So be open to that and be prepared to put in some of that time, some of that graft to learn, understand, and then say, well, actually, this isn't going to work for me. Be prepared to be bold enough to know that some strategies aren't that good, even if you've been working on it for about 6 months. Because I tell you what, if you work on something for 6 months and decide, no, it's far better than finding out 3 years down the line. So don't be impatient, because everything does build towards the end outcome. It all contributes towards it. Okay.
This is one of my pet hates. Premature pitching. Because we all know how bad premature is, right? But premature pitching is something I see all the time. Last Monday night at the Berkshire Property Meet, I had probably about 6 people wanting to talk to me. There's people who always want to speak to you because you're the host of the event, and it's very important that you make the time to speak to these people. And the first person came up to me and said, this is fantastic, really enjoyed it, I'll be back next month. I said, great, I'll see you then. The next 5 people all just started pitching something to me. They didn't ask me any questions. They didn't ask me about what I'm doing, how I am. They just said, I've got this fantastic deal, blah. And I'm like, great, fantastic. I said, did you actually listen to what Rob said? They said, yeah. I said, no, he didn't. I said, what did he actually say about pitching? They said, I can't remember. And one guy actually started pitching me a forest, coconut forest in Brazil. What? You know, what am I going to do with a coconut forest? He was telling me it's a fantastic investment. He was la, la, la. I said, look, mate, you're missing the point. You've not actually asked me any questions. You've not actually found out anything about me. And you've decided that I want to buy a coconut farm in Brazil. What on earth makes you think that? And he just carried on talking. Sometimes it is down to people being nervous and it's new and they think they have to do that. But you don't need to. And what we're going to go through the next bit is actually help you to make sure that any networking event you go to, any event you go to, whether it's networking or not, that you make sure that you get the outcome you're looking for. So the first thing, if this thing will move forward one.
One of my favourite stories, actually. You have some good ones and you have some bad ones. And there was this lady came up to me at the BPM, and she said, "Wow, what a great event! I want to run an event." I said, "Great." She goes, "Will you help me?" I said, "Sure. Give us a call and we'll give you a few tips." She goes, "I just want to get an event going." She goes, "Because I just want to flog them stuff." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm not quite sure that it's going to work." She goes, "No, I didn't mean that." I said, "No, you've said it now. The words came out of your mouth. Don't call me." She didn't set it up.
She basically said it, and Sylvia questioned on what she said, and the lady said, "No, that's not what I said." And the bloke next to her said, "Yes, you did."
Yes, you did.
We heard the words come out. Now, when you go to a networking event, we all go with a strategy, don't you? You've all got a strategy for this weekend while you're here. What we want you to do is, working with a partner, what 5 things would you do before you went to any networking event, before you came here? What 5 things would you do to make sure you get the best out of this weekend? Now, we want to work in pairs, and I want you to write this down. So you're going to give you 2 minutes, 5 things that you did before you came here to make sure you got the best out of this event.